I tasted the argument before I spoke it, the bitter heat of words I'd been swallowing all morning. Instead of letting them out, I flexed my jaw, pasted on a too-tight smile, and popped the trunk. "Let's get moving," I said. Voice sanded down to neutral. They took it as permission. The ride to the airport felt like being sealed inside a jar. No air, no escape, while Lauren filled the space with her chirpy, breathless plans. "Mom, did you see that TikTok about Paris thrift shops? We have to go. Should we squeeze it in between the museum day and the river cruise? Or is that too much? Maybe we can—" Her excitement bounced around the car like a rubber ball. I locked my gaze on the road and held the wheel like a lifeline. My mother's soft laugh drifted forward. "We'll make time, sweetheart. We'll work it out when we get there." "We?" They said it like I was invisible, a ghost driver. My father tried for diplomacy and tripped over it. He cleared his throat. "Thank you for driving us, Violet. I know this. Feels unusual." "Unusual. That's one way to dress it up," I said, meeting his eyes in the rear view for a beat. He shifted, shoulders folding in, as if he wished he'd stayed quiet. Lauren leaned between the seats, perfumed and pleased with herself. "You're not mad, right? I mean, this is huge for me. I could never do Paris like this alone. You're being, really generous." My face made the smile my heart refused. "Enjoy your trip, Lauren." By the curb, I heaved their suitcases to the pavement and forced myself through the motions. My mother wrapped me in a quick hug that smelled like lavender and denial. "Thank you for understanding, honey. This means a lot, to all of us." "And to Lauren." "Sure," I said, and the word tasted like metal. "Thanks, Violet. You're the best," Lauren sang, rolling her glossy luggage toward the sliding doors like a heroine entering her spotlight. I stood there while the terminal swallowed them. The automatic doors sighed shut, and the ache in my ribs answered back. On the drive home, the silence roared. Every line from the last 2 days replayed on a loop. Lauren needs this more. "You're always working. You understand, right?" 1,000 small cuts, all pointing to the same truth. They'd decided I didn't count. I pulled into my driveway and didn't move. The steering wheel bit into my palms until my knuckles blanched. Then something inside me clicked into place. Enough. I walked straight to my desk, opened my laptop, and signed into every portal I had used to build the trip, the one I'd daydreamed over for years. Tabs bloomed like cards in a magic trick. Hotel, tour operator, airline account, airport transfers, museum passes, click, cancel click, refund click, downgrade revoked. The confirmation emails arrived in a tidy little parade, each one loosening the knot in my chest. They wanted my itinerary without me? They could have their own version, just not the 5-star one I had paid for, not the private guides I'd put deposits on, not the baked-in upgrades I had earned. I closed the laptop. For the first time in days, my shoulders dropped. I breathed. Let the concierge in Paris explain it to them. I was done playing the family's backstage crew. The phone started buzzing while their plane was somewhere over the Atlantic. By the time I'd unpacked my carefully folded dresses, the ones I'd chosen for cathedral shadows and bistro evenings, my screen was stacked with missed calls and messages. The irony made me laugh, but it was a quiet, disbelieving sound. I hung the last dress back in my closet like a ceremony for something that wasn't dead, just deferred. When their plane touched down, my mother's name lit up the screen. Then again. Then again. Texts arrived in sharp bursts. "Violet, what's happening?" "The hotel says there's no reservation." "Call me, this isn't funny." "Fix this now." "We're at the desk." "They can't find anything." "Answer." A laugh slipped out before I could stop it. Fix this, of course. That's who I'd always been to them. The human buffer, the cleaner of messes I didn't make. Lauren's call came next. I let it ring into voicemail and only listened to the first 5 words. "This is so petty." "Violet, delete." After hours of buzzing like an angry beehive, I finally picked up my mother's call, mostly for the mercy of silence. "What did you do?" She snapped before I could say hello. "The hotel says the booking was canceled. None of the tours are on file. The tickets, everything? I canceled what I paid for, I said, steady. A clean fact delivered plain. Silence. Then a hiss of disbelief. Why would you do that? Oh, I don't know, I said lightly, letting the edge show. Maybe because you decided to swap me out of the trip I planned and funded. You're lucky I still drove you to the airport. We thought you would understand, she said, as if the word were a magic trick that could pull a rabbit from an empty hat. Understand what? That years of saving don't matter? That my plans vanish if Lauren gets a whim? No, I don't understand, and I don't need to. Don't be cruel, she snapped. Your sister can learn how bookings work, I said, and hung up. The click felt like a door finally closing with the latch fully in. I powered down the phone and dropped it on the couch, then stood in the quiet and listened to nothing. It was beautiful. A cathedral of peace. For a day, I lived like the rest of the world didn't have a direct line into my bloodstream. I cleaned, answered emails, made soup, played music too loud, and felt the buzz of disbelief loosen its teeth. When I finally turned my phone back on, the dam broke. Missed calls, texts like flares. You've gone too far. Your sister is crying and your father is furious. We can't get into anything. Mom, you're being childish. Just fix it already. Lauren, we need to talk. This isn't right. Dad, my tea steeped while I stared at the screen. The old version of me, the one who checked in flights for everyone else, turned mistakes into miracles, smoothed every sharp edge, might have folded right there. Instead, I let the leaves darken the water, took a slow sip, and decided I wasn't going to be recruited back into my old job. The next call I answered, my mother didn't bother with hello. This isn't amusing anymore. We're stranded. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is? Humiliating? I echoed, calm enough to scare myself. Try saving for years, building something beautiful, and being told you're not invited to your own life. That's humiliating. Stop dramatizing, she said, anger breaking into her voice. Lauren needed this more than you. Then she can figure it out, I said. You made a choice. I made one too. Don't ask me to fund a vacation I'm not on. We're family, she hissed, as if the word family was a set of handcuffs. We don't do this to each other. Funny, I said, and the word wasn't a joke. I was just thinking the same thing. Somewhere on her end, Lauren whined, Mom, hang up. She's impossible. The entitlement in her voice snapped the last thread I'd been guarding. Enjoy your trip, I said, voice iced smooth. Oh, right. You can't. Because it wasn't yours to start with. I ended the call and turned the phone off again. The quiet that followed wasn't empty. It was spacious. For the first time in years, I felt the edges of myself reappear, less like a doormat, more like a person with a door and a lock and keys that belong to me. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Comment below what you would have done in this situation. And if you're enjoying this story, give it a like. It really helps the channel. The silence didn't last long. By morning, my phone lit up like a slot machine gone berserk. Calls, texts, voicemails, each one more desperate than the last. I ignored them at first, cleaning the house with music blaring, sipping coffee on the porch, letting the quiet wrap around me. But curiosity is a stubborn thing. By evening, I gave in and scrolled through the flood. Mom's texts were a familiar cocktail of guilt and outrage. You've gone too far. Your sister is in tears. Your father is furious. We can't get into any of the hotels. Just fix it. Lauren's messages dripped with entitlement. This is petty, Violet. Even for you. You're ruining everything. Fix it. And Dad. His tone was quieter, but no less cutting. We need to talk. This isn't right. I set the phone down, shaking my head. For years, I had been their fixer, the invisible glue that kept everyone else's life together. And now, the minute I refused to play that role, they didn't know what to do. The phone buzzed again, relentless. This time I answered, Violet! My mom's voice exploded down the line before I could breathe. This isn't funny anymore. Do you know how embarrassing this is? We're stranded. I took a calm sip of tea, letting the steam curl against my face. Embarrassing, I echoed. Try saving for years, planning every detail, and then being told you're not part of it. That's embarrassing. Stop being dramatic, she snapped. Lauren needed this more than you. Then let her figure it out, I said flatly. You made your choice. Don't expect me to bankroll hers. We're family, she hissed, as though the word was a weapon. We don't do this to each other. I let out a bitter laugh. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. In the background, Lauren's voice piped up, sharp and whiny. Mom, just hang up, she's impossible. That was the final straw. Enjoy your trip, I said, voice laced with ice. Oh, wait, you can't, because it was mine. And now? It's nobody's. Click. End of call. The next few days were blissful. With my phone shut off, I rediscovered what quiet felt like. Mornings spent on the porch with a book. Afternoons finishing projects I'd put off for years. Evenings filled with the kind of peace I hadn't realized I'd been craving. But peace never lasts. Not when your family sees you as their lifeline. By the third day, curiosity pulled me back in. I powered my phone on and was greeted by a flood of new voicemails. Mom.